Is going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm back. I know it's been a while. Been really busy. So welcome to the channel. Today's topic is knob and tube wire. We're gonna talk a little bit about knob and tube wire. We're gonna talk about even some tool deals that are going on. We're gonna even talk about other things in the electrical trade. I see Zayfael, first one here in the chat. I'm gonna read what it says before we get into everything else. I'm gonna run the intro, so here we go. Okay, guys, we're back. We are back. So what's up, everybody? Again, my name is Jonathan. Welcome to the channel. If some of you don't know who I am, I'm an electrician by trade. Oh, bye, babe. The missus is leaving right now. She's gonna take a little bit of a walk around. Yes, I'm an electrician by trade, also a certified HVAC tech, and here in the heart of New York City, the 5 boroughs. Coming to you live here in Staten Island, New York. It is 3:31 p.m. the northeast corner of the United States, and let's see here. It's 75 degrees out here. It's getting a little cooler now. Also, let's see here. I'm just trying to fix up some things right here, guys. All right, Conan Man Studios here. What's up, Conan Man? Conan Man's in. Let's take a look at the chat before we get started here. Zayfael says, oh, which by the way, guys, if you're in the chat, you want to grab my attention, type in at KleinGuy Jon. Okay, I'll type it in for you. Like that. My name will pop up in orange. Okay, for some of you guys, if you see in the chat right now, my name will highlight in orange on my end. May not your end, but my end. You can grab my attention by typing at KleinGuy Jon. Also, before we even get into the readings, sorry guys, before we get there, let me just put this. Let me just say this actually. Why is it not showing up? Oh, there we go. What am I'm looking at the wrong screen here. Oh man. Now, if you are looking for electrical contractor here in the 5 boroughs in New York City, all right, so now we got that part out of the way. We're going to go back to that right before the stream ends. So we'll be done here by 4:30. 4:30 is the check mark. Yes, an hour. Usually I do 2. But we're gonna cut it a little bit short, of an hour short here, guys. All right, now let's see here. I'm just gonna set up. Let me just set up here for a second. Also, if you like the channel, you like the content, you like the chat, and you like everything we talk about here on the channel, and you're a electrical or HAC aficionado, don't forget to subscribe. The subscribe button is a little red button right up on the top right corner. Also, if you like the video, and like I said, you like the content, smash that like button. Hit that like button. And if you want to leave any suggestions, more comments, leave it in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to contact me with any personal questions about the electrical and HVAC trade, the the email to contact me is in the description box down below. All right. Okay, here. So, let's read the chats here. We got Zaphael. He says, I'm dealing with an electrical box that runs up to lights. Had a dimmer switch on it that's connected to blue. New dimmer switch requires a neutral. He also says that black and white are also running through the same box, but not connected to anything. Hooked up the switch to blue and neutral, but it's not functioning right. And I hope I didn't burn it out. This is old house with greenfield wiring, which uses a metal conduit with hot and neutral in it. Well, oh, volume please on the mic. Sorry guys, you guys want the volume control on the microphone. Hold on a second. Hold up. How's that? More mic volume please. It's probably because I'm moving back and forth, so sensitive microphone. Can't hear anything, yo John. Yo, Kona man. What do you mean you can't hear anything? Let's see in my end. Not sure why you guys aren't hearing me. So let's fix that issue right now. Let's see. Guys, I can hear myself fine. I'm on right here. I can hear you. I can hear just fine. So maybe it's your volume. I don't know what else to tell you. I can increase my microphone, but it'll be a bit too loud. So when you went to talk, we couldn't hear you. When you came back, we could hear you. Oh, okay. Well, I guess so. All right. So, Zaphael, let's see, to answer that question. Well, it could possibly mean that since you're, now you said you found a neutral, you said? Black and white are also running through the box, but not connected to anything. When you mean by anything? Oh, it says I didn't have a meter on me. Your volume can be 4 times like your intro volume was. Oh, the intro volume? Well, here's the thing. That's the highest I can go with the volume. And I'm video capture device volume. Now I could drop it. That's about it. I guess it's the microphone, so if I'm walking away too far, you guys can't hear me. Now you can hear me even better. I don't know. Sorry to say, maybe it's your volume control. Maybe you can increase it. My volume's increased super high on the microphone. I could try something else, but apparently I can't really go any higher than you guys want me to. All right. Yeah, even my computer, the microphone level is high. It's at the highest sensitivity. So, know what to say there, guys. My volume's 100%. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's the quality. I don't know. Something's going on with YouTube these days. It's weird. Anyway, I didn't have a meter on me. Okay, you didn't have a meter on you. So, best thing to do now, did you have an existing switch there before? And if you did, is there a neutral in that box? If there's a neutral in your box, you can tap from that neutral to the switch. If the dimmer switch requires a neutral, you can do that. If you don't have a neutral in that switch box and you only have power in, switch leg out to switch. You're going to either have to um, remove the switch leg from the switch box to the light and add a neutral from the light. Now, if there's power coming from the light, there's definitely a neutral there, so you might have to run an extra wire back down, or if it's ran like you said to either to Greenfield or MC/BX, most people call it BX. Normally, what you would have to do is run a 12-3, black, white, red, and a green, which basically it's 4 conductors, but the green is not counted as a conductor; it's counted as a grounding conductor or ground. So technically you'll be using your white, your neutral, your black as your hot feed coming down to the switch, and then your red as the switch leg going back to the switch to the light. So I guess you can give that a shot if you'd like. Let's see here. Yes, existing was just on blue. Old rotary. Black and white going through, but weren't hooked to switch. I'm here now and was going to work on it while listening to you. Well, the black is your, I guess if there's a blue wire is your hot, if I'm not mistaken, and you have a neutral. I'm really not sure. That is a little confusing. Actually. When you went to talk, you can hear. Okay, let me go back to your. I'm dealing with electrical block that runs up to the lights. I had a dimmer switch on it that's connected to blue. Okay, new dimmer switch requires a neutral. Black and white also run through the box, but not connect to anything. Okay, so you could try now. I mean, you're there now. I wouldn't suggest you try it now. But if you do have the experience as an electrician, if you've done the trade, sure, why not? But I implore some of you guys to like get an electrical contractor. But if you're working with the power off and you're very cautious and you have experience with electrical, okay, but be very cautious about what you're doing. So anyways, in order that you might have to test, doing continuity like test and see if the neutral wire, if your neutral is hitting, and take one of your probes to the neutral wire and then your other test probe to the metallic box or something metallic, that's if you have a metallic box, or a ground wire, and test between there. If there's a continuity, that means that could most likely be your neutral, your ground. Neutral is considered a ground, and your grounding conductor is your grounding wire, your ground wire being bonded to the device or bonded to the box. Your ground is your neutral, and your ungrounded conductor is your hot, obviously. So if you have continuity between your neutral and your ground, that is that because the neutral and ground are bonded to each other, that is your return. It should be fine. Now, if you like to test it live, another way to find out is that your blue wire, test the blue wire hot to the white wire, and if you get 120, that should do it. That should be your neutral, your white wire. If it doesn't say 120, that white wire could possibly not be connected to anything. It's a lost neutral. Maybe it was disconnected somewhere along the way. You may have to trace that white wire to wherever it might be going and reconnect it to your neutral, or tie it into possibly tie it into an existing circuit. So yeah, you should. These are things that are like troubleshooting skills that you should like really practice on. Whenever you come across an issue where you see a hot and a neutral and they're not connected, always check for continuity. I tend to use that as a quick way of finding out which is my neutral. Or if you want to confirm that it's a neutral tied into an existing neutral circuit, you can always turn on the back on the power, test your existing feed to that neutral, that white wire, and see if there's 120. If you do get 120, that's a neutral. It's tied in. If not, and it just says 0, okay, or 0.234 something, that means there's no return back. So you need to basically just trace out that wire, see where it's going. If it's not tied into anything, to a neutral circuit, or maybe it's tied into something off a feed. Maybe it might have been used for like a fan switch, or it was just temporary. Um, you know, you can try to find out if you can tie it into an existing neutral or not. Let's see here. Zaphael says this house is old and stupid. Everything was done wrong. I tried to hook to white, and lights came on bright, and switch shut off with dimmer. Well, then in that case, I would steer. Then in that case, if you can't tie it to an existing neutral, tie it as a dedicated neutral. Tie it in just separately. Or what you can do in this matter, you can still take it from the if the power is coming from the existing light fixture, coming straight down to the box. Take a separate wire, white neutral wire, and or just like I said before, change out the wire, the switch leg wiring, to a 12-3, and bring it from the fixture, which if you have power coming to the fixture and then down to the switch and then back, switch it to a 12-3 instead. That way you use your red wire as your switch weight and your black as your common, your feed. Okay, and then you have your neutral there. You could tie in the neutral to the existing neutral, bring it back down to the switch, and yeah, do it that way. It should work out just fine. All right. So let's go and talk about knob and tube wiring. Okay, so let me switch over here. Okay, knob and tube wire. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys what it looks like first. If those of you ever experienced knob and tube wire, now this right here, this is cloth insulated wire. This is was known as knob and tube wire. This is what it looks like. It's 14 gauge wire. Now it's copper, but it may not look like it's copper. It's like a silver wire, but it's most likely just, over time and aging, it it starts to oxidize. This was your typical wiring back from, I believe it was like 1886 or 89 or 1890 all the way till 1935. The last they used knob and tube wiring in 1935 in New York City was that they started using it as they started covering this type of wire, this cloth threaded wire, in BX. Now BX, that system was not grounded at the time. There was no grounding at the time. So if you ever come across wiring like this in conduit, especially, now when I say knob and tube wire, okay, usually knob and tube wire was consisting of two conductors, a ungrounded and grounded conductor. All right, let me just switch this here, actually. Yeah, and there's an article here we can read on. Let me just change up the cameras here. For some reason it's not even showing. Here we go. So here it is, knob and tube wiring and what to know. Knob and tube wiring, what to know. And the article states, unless you live in a house or building that was constructed prior to 1950, you probably do not have to worry about knob and tube wiring. In other words, knob and tube wiring is almost a relic of a bygone age. Our energy needs have shifted and technology has been improved to where there are safer alternatives. However, there are still buildings in which knob and tube wiring still exists, and it's something electricians have to deal with removing from time to time. Here's what you should know about knob and tube wiring. Basically how it works. Knob and tube wiring is a kind of electrical wiring that consists of copper wiring, one hot, one neutral, being run through porcelain knobs and tubes. Now, what that looks like is basically this. This is knob and tube wiring. So this is the knob, and this is the tube right here. Okay. Back then, when they started running single conductors, they wanted to run circuits, they ran two single conductors. They were color, I believe they were color coded at the time, but over time that coloring faded. So it's hard to tell which one's hot and which one's neutral, but they were made they were made to be ran this way in residential homes. Um, Here's a system right here where they have even mixed with, new wiring as well, which is now illegal. You cannot mix new wiring with old, knob and tube wiring. Let me see if I can actually let's view the image a lot larger. There we go. So as you can see, this splice box here, see all the knob right here. This is basically what they did was they either they did one wrap of the wire and then continued the circuit, or they just continued it and have the knob just sort of like twist in and tighten down. There was like a little screw or bolt that tightened down these porcelain made knobs, okay, to hold the wiring in place. Then if they needed to go through obstruction, right here, let's see, where is it? The tubes are right here as well. That's not it. Let's go back to, let's go back and look at a tube. Oh no, that's the service entrance conductors right there back in the day. That's illegal. Okay, here we go. So here's a picture of, this is the porcelain tubing. So if they needed to go through a framing member, they would drill a hole. I mean, back then they didn't have drills. They actually had these corkscrew type hole saws. They would go right through. They had to do it manually to wrench it through, make a hole, stick the porcelain tube in there, and then run their wires through. And as you can see, they oh, something happened. Hold on. No. Okay. So you can see there was some damage here on the wire. Alright, so they had to tape it up. You can tell some of the color coding. See, this is white. This is your neutral right here. Okay? And this is your hot, because this is a much darker tone. See, over time, the color coding would fade. And like I said, they were color coded back then, yes. And this is the end result. This is the neutral. This is what I pulled out of some galvanized, half-inch galvanized pipe in an apartment in Brooklyn. And the customer had knob and tube wiring. This is your hot. This is your feed, your ungrounded conductor, and this was your grounded conductor, your neutral. At the time back then, yes, I mean, this wire is still in great shape, believe it or not. And as you can see, it was cloth wire. You can see right here, 14 gauge wire. All right, and now it's considered to be dangerous to have in homes because they can catch fires. They could cause fires, and they can cause electrical injury too to individuals. This was inlaid in pipe, and it was in great condition. You can see the color coding was fading on this. It was just a neutral, which is now turning to a brown, and this was basically your hot. All right, so it's a little bit dirty there too. All right, so let's switch back. So yeah, this is how it was done. They had the wires, wrapped up here around the knobs or clamped onto the knobs. As you can see, it was like kind of clamped on to hold the wire in place. This is how the system was back then. All right, so let's go back. We're gonna find some other, like, let's see, there's a bunch of pictures here, as you can tell. See, like in devices, when it came to wiring devices, they had these porcelain type devices right here, right where I'm circling at. So these devices, the switches, the boxes really were metallic, and inside the boxes were the porcelain style devices. Switches and outlets were mainly made of porcelain in the back of them, believe it or not, and the front was plastic. So, and some were all porcelain altogether because porcelain was a best insulator at the time, So let's see, Tony B. La Palma volcano has just erupted, and it's gonna cause a mega tsunami, which is going to destroy the east coast of America in a matter of hours. Good luck, everyone. Okay. That's weird. Okay, didn't hear about that. Moving on. So this is basically back then when they constructed homes. It was all wood. It was panel and lath board. Um, they would run wires between there, just like this. You can see the wiring system, like how I'm pretty sure back in those times it was like neat as hell. This is like the most professional way of doing things, and you can tell like they really put time and effort in running these wires. And as you can see, this outer jacket here, see the conductor itself was covered in cloth, like a rubber overlaid with cloth. And then the outer jacket was all cloth to give it that extra protection, to kind of sleeve it through studs, sleeve it through metallic boxes, so that way if they were to be clamped down in some way, they wouldn't catch fire. All right. Yeah, this was it. This is back in the day, and it's really interesting because in New York City, this is basically what we deal with in New York City. Let me see if I can find an example. Oh, this is the wire. The way they used to do it. This is the electrical service. This is how it was done. You got your meter, you got your fuse, you got your main disconnect was a hand lever disconnect, so you shut off the power and turn on the power. All right. These were your fuses. It's like the main disconnect fuse. So if this blew out, you just got to swap them out. And it was all made of porcelain. Part of it wood. Wood was also a good conductor. They had to be careful now when installing wood against wood. They had to make sure that the wood was not flammable. So yeah, that was another reason why not to install these. And they're still considered dangerous today. You see all the cobwebs. I mean, look how old this system is. Look at that. You got the knob and tubing right here. You got some Romex newer wiring ran through. You got some BX right here with knob and tube wire. I think it's knob and tube wire, but look at all the fuses. These were the circuits through all the house, like on each floor, each room. They had another main disconnect. So most likely this was like your main service disconnect, the fuses for that, I guess. And then this is your main disconnect that shuts off all the power to right over here where all these fuses were. Like this was the service, our residential service. Crazy, huh? All right, so let's go back. I'm not sure if they have pictures of knob and tube wire in like conduit for like New York City. I don't know if they do have any. I doubt they do. But let's see. Yeah, here's another one. Here's how it looked back in the day. This looks like it was excavated out, and they took an opportunity to take a photo op for it. That's how it was set up. So you had one hot, one neutral. They weren't put together until they met to an electrical box. All right. So you could do anything with knob tube wire. Back in the days, you can tap into it, tap into a separate conductor. It was how it was back then. It was no whole bars. They didn't have any NEC code to it. You can do whatever you want with it. So here it is. This is a split bolt, split and solid knobs and terminations. This is how it was done. These are examples of how it was done back in the day. So it says one wire larger than number 8 tied to solid knob. So they use number 8 wire, I guess, as their service coming in from the street. They tapped it into the main disconnect. They got a split knob here, which holds the wire. So you see how they have the little engravements. Sub knob and tubes, I believe I remember seeing, were just like one wrap around it, and then they just tighten on the bolt to hold it in place, to give it that extra tension from I guess for to keep it secure. So you got the 2 split knob, the single knob. They got a corkscrew, like a screw screwed into the wood to hold it in place. So as you're screwing down, the top of the solid knob, of the porcelain knob, would sandwich right onto the wire. So a single knob used for termination. So that's how they did their terminations. All right, and then they wrapped the wire around, and they continued the run. This is basically how they secured the wire. Okay. Zayfiel says, I don't think people need to understand knob and tube wiring anymore because in almost all situations it will be ripped out and replaced. True, but there are some guys, like I said, there are guys who are, there are guys who don't know, like younger guys who are trying to get in, who are getting into electrical. They have no idea what this stuff is. They could be on a job and say, "What the heck is this?" and no one tells them anything. It happens. So it's always good to, this is just for educational purposes only. Um, it's always good to even have a history of understanding electrical, and this is one of them. This is one of the reasons why you should understand it, because you do come across homes and apartment buildings that do still have knob and tube, and it could be troublesome as well to even troubleshoot. Sometimes here in New York City, a lot of customers don't want to renovate their apartments or their homes because it's too expensive to run wiring. So we try to figure out ways to safely work with and around knob and tube wire. Okay. Let's see here. I don't think they have anything in New York, any photos from like in New York City type. But in New York City, there are a lot of buildings, like pre-World War buildings that have knob and tube, but they're not literally looking like this. They don't literally have the knob and tube. They're actually ran through conduit. They use a lot of conduit, and this is an example. Let me just switch it up here. This was pulled out of half-inch galvanized conduit. And the reason is that's how they ran wire. It was, I guess, city code at the time. And it was still considered knob and tube. Even if there was no knob and actual tube, they would still consider this as knob and tube wire. Whether it's in BX or in conduit. It was still considered that. Most of you may not, agree, but look it up. Yes, it was considered as knob and tube. This was their go-to way of wiring. All right. Let's see here. So here's, there's some photos here. Yeah, you got this photo. This is like another. This is an illustration of knob and tube wiring, how it was done. It's good to have a history on it, because you will at times come across knob and tube wiring. You need to be educated on the procedures of how to get rid of, how to remove it, how to work with it. These are the devices. So right here on this side, if you can see the 2 T slots, that's what they used back in the days where duplex receptacles started becoming very popular. They have older receptacle outlets here. I'm not sure if they have them. No, I don't think they do. There's a lot here about knob and tube. There was one. I think there was one guy who actually, like, I don't know how, but he somehow took his existing. I don't know where I heard it from. I might have seen it or heard it. I can't remember. It was years ago. I heard that a guy in PA, or I think it was PA or Jersey somewhere, he somehow got his knob tube to be grounded, and he ran ground wire separately the same way they did with knob tube. I don't know how he did it, but it was really odd. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you still add? And apparently it was safely grounded. Whoa, look at this guy. Look at this. I guess this is the old panels. Look at that fuse box. They used to make them out of wood. There's your service entrance conductor. And there's your fuses, and that's your electrical panel. That was your feed from this right here was coming from the meter or main disconnect and coming right here to your main breaker or fuse. And these will feed out all the rooms. Crazy, huh? That's old school. All right, so seems like I can't find the ones for in conduit, how they were ran. I'm like, you get what I mean, guys. Like, you see how it looks. So oh, this guy was on YouTube actually. He's knob and tube early installation YouTube. So check this guy out. He's on YouTube. Just look up knob and tube and you'll see one of his videos. He actually explains how they look at this system. Ooh, look at that. This is how they used to do their splices too. They will nick it or cut it and then splice it and then put thermal tape around all of it. So they just basically tie it in. Yeah. So this is Romex, and they tied. Now that's illegal. You can't do that. Inspectors won't allow that. because that can cause fires. There's another one. Oh, this is nice. That is old school right there. Look at that. And you see the tube, all the knobs. So how neat that was back then. Crazy. Real crazy. Let's see here. Oops, sorry, making everybody dizzy here. So yeah, it's fascinating to see this. Like, there's different pictures of knob and tube wiring, how people, came across this system, and it still exists out there, guys. So let's go back to the article, right? So how it works. Knob and tube wire is kind of electrical wiring that consists of copper, one hot, one neutral, being run through porcelain knobs and tubes. The wire is covered in insulation. The knobs hold the wire in place, often in contact with a component of the house, such as wooden beams. The tubes, on the other hand, are used to protect the wire from fraying or being in contact with wood or drywall. Anything that would start a fire from overheating, even with the insulation around the wiring. So, typically these wires were number 14 wire, and I believe coming from the meter would be, I think, number 10 wire, if I'm not mistaken, to feed your main disconnect, to feed the main fuse, and then everything else will be just 14 wire, 14 gauge wire. All right. Let's see here. Found in old buildings. Here's another one, right here. Found in old buildings. Let's read that article. Knob and tube wiring was considered innovative technology during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It was a cost-effective setup that did its job in meeting the energy needs of the people of that time. However, it did have its drawbacks and is considered a safety hazard in today's electrical code. For example, the insulation around the wiring wears easily, which can leave the wires exposed and loose. So, in other words, yeah, they tend to get worn out over time. They age. The insulation becomes brittle. And what happens is, especially in New York City, when we have it all in conduit, they'll deteriorate, and the wires will end up touching inside the conduit and causing shorts. It's very, very difficult to really work with it at times, because I get calls where they want to switch out a switch for a dimmer, and the wires are either too short or they're too exposed. Bare wire is shown, and it's like very close to the metal box. So I would have to find the circuit, shut it off. I would use heat shrink, or there's another way of doing it, is a shortcut way of doing it, which is still, I wouldn't consider it safe still, but it was only a last resort, where we would cut and strip the insulation off of number 12 wire and use that insulation and slide into the number 14 wire, and just basically push as far back into where the insulation breaks off, far back as possible. Tape it, or or we sometimes use liquid electrical tape, to give that extra protection. And that would be one way to, keep the insulation from the wire from being exposed. At times, I would also put liquid electrical tape around the cloth, so that way it gives it that extra protection, to hold it in, hold that cloth insulation and last a little bit longer until the customer decides whether to rip it out and run new wire. Now, the easiest thing let me tell you guys something here. If you are working as an electrician in New York City, the easiest thing about it is that if you're in an apartment everything's just original. Obviously, there's conduit going in. There's no BX. There's just full-on conduit. And there's no obstruction, meaning, what I mean by no obstruction in the conduit, like any buildup of sediments, like keeping the wires from being pulled back and forth or being removed. If you're looking at that, like possibly like 50-50 chance of that happening. Whenever, for me, for instance, I did a customer's home. We did a customer's apartment, not an entire apartment, but we did one room. It was like a study room, and we removed all the cloth wire, which is the knob and tube wire. It was all conduit. Pulled it out, ran new wire. Okay. Easiest thing And that's the one thing I love about it, is that when we're removing that wire, you get to run new wire if it's in conduit. Now, if it's in BX form, in the form of a BX, or in the walls of lath board, plaster and lath, it becomes a problem, it becomes an issue, it becomes very difficult. We have to run MC to replace the wire, rip it out, break holes in walls. It's a mess. If you got conduit, it's just easier, it's safer. You don't got to worry about cutting in, holes in walls, anything of that nature. You just run your new wire in there with no problem, with ease. You can ground everything. There are times where I was able to run a new feeder wire from the panel to the room. Now, when they did the conduit back then, they usually shared on the same conduit, meaning they'll share circuits on the same line or same conduit in that same conduit pipe, and they will split off into different other boxes and so forth. But it was still easier that way. We could just run separate lines and do whatever. And as long as it was safe, we ran ground. We bonded all the boxes together. We even put in a ground bar in the electrical box. Sometimes it was either a Federal Pacific, or sometimes an old Edison fuse, and we would just still run a ground to it, just to keep everything bonded. And sometimes, well, what will happen is, how would you know if the system is grounded? Usually what will happen is they'll run new service downstairs. Usually I'll come across a building where there's new service. It'll be new panel, new main disconnects, new meter boxes. Everything's grounded from down the basement, so everything from down up is bonded and secured, and everything's grounded. So we would just tie in ground, drill a hole in the boxes, in the existing boxes, and put in ground screws and ground bars and stuff. So yeah, and everything would be safely bonded still. All right, so it was just easier that way. If it was knob and tube and conduit, it was just way easier. But anyways, let's get back to the reading. Sorry about that, guys. Limited amperage. Here's another issue about knob and tube. One of the downsides of knob and tube wiring is limited amperage. Back when knob and tube wiring was popular, people did not use as much electricity as we do today. Knob and tube wiring can handle at most around 60 amps. Whereas today, the service panels of most houses today crank out at least 150 amps. See. Now to the topic. No ground wire. Let's read that. One of the biggest downfalls of knob and tube wiring is the lack of a ground wire. Ground wires did not become commonplace until the 1960s. Ground wires help protect against fires and other damage to electrical components by conducting excess electricity harmlessly into the ground. Let's stop right there for a second, because I know this article is probably, let's see how old this article is. I think it's just like this article. Oops. Sorry. When I typed on this article had to be a couple years old. Electricity goes back first. Okay. The purpose of the ground is to bleed out all that. Oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Okay, we're not going to that yet. It's to bleed out all that residual, DC, I forgot, DC transient voltage that's within that AC voltage. There will be some like that interference that, whenever you get static electricity, that's basically like DC transient voltage. And when you touch something metal, it just like you get that shock. That's like basically, okay, yeah, it's grounded. Everything's grounded. It's going back to the source. That energy is going back to the source. Okay, so that's something right here that is not true. Okay, electricity does not go to ground. It goes back to the source. If you guys want to learn more about that, please go to the description box down below. Tap in the link at MikeHolt.com. Look up grounding and bonding. Okay, he's got a whole entire like an hour and 30 or 50-minute video about grounding and bonding and grounding and electrical fundamentals. Read up on it. It's amazing how much like the research that all these other companies did and found out that the whole thing about grounding and bonding, about grounding electricity going straight to the ground, was not true. It's now known as a grounding myth. So this right here No, not really true. But let's continue. Knob and tube wiring can easily cause electrical fires due in large part to not having a ground wire. That's a fact. The part where it says by conducting excess electricity harmlessly into the ground, that is not a fact. So I just hope they correct that. I'm not sure how old this article is though, because I'm not seeing a date. But eventually I'll find out. I found this on Google. So don't cover with insulation. See, now I know I mentioned about it earlier about insulation. It was like basically using number 12 insulation and wrapping it with uh, putting it into 14 gauge. I know that's a no-no, but it was a last resort because, you know, the wire would damage and become brittle and fall apart so bad that we had no choice but to do that. Okay, so I don't like doing that, but push come to shove in situations like that, we have to. Um, so don't cover with insulation. Covering knob and tube wiring with thermal insulation is a major fire hazard. It is also a violation of the Natural Electrical Code to have knob and tube wiring in contact with thermal insulation. The wire suspended by the porcelain knobs cannot cool if it is covered with insulation. So I guess by me doing that, I mean there is no knobs. It's conduit. It's cold conduit. So it's also worth noting that switches on knob and tube wiring were usually on the neutral wire instead of the hot wire. Doing that only shuts off the circuit and not the current, which can be a fire hazard too in the presence of thermal insulation. Wow. If you live in a knob and tube wire house, it's a good idea to have an electrician come out and replace it with more modern and safer electrical wiring. There's a good chance you won't be able to get homeowners insurance with it still in the building. You can learn how to replace knob and tube wiring as a professional electrician. If being an electrician is your calling in life, there's no better place to start your journey in the Chicago area than Coin College. Okay, so this is done by a study in Coin College. Okay. Basically, they're just advertising their electrical program, which is great. I feel more colleges should do that as well, implement trade skills and apprenticeship programs and so forth. So yeah, there you go. I mean, there's other articles we could talk about now. Tubing. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even switch over. I'm reading, and you guys can't even see what I'm reading. So, all right, this is where I ended the paragraph. I read all this already. Coin College is in Chicago. Chicago's finest trade schools offer two programs inspiring electrical workers: electrical construction and planning, electrical construction and maintenance. Okay, so if you live in the Chicago area looking to be a electrical tradesman, doing electrical, here's a place. Try out Coin. I'm not sure how old this article is. I mean, I could find out, but I'm not sure. Oh, they got some other trade programs and stuff. So if you live in Chicago, check out Coin College. Let me know how that works. All right. So there you go, guys. Knob and tube, is it dangerous? Yes. If you're a homeowner or a renter, would you want it to be replaced with modern wiring? I highly recommend it. Yes, this is just an old style of how it was used and what was used back in the day, but now it's obsolete. Um, you could even sell this as well online to like museums. Some museums have, this wiring as well. Um, Check with your local or state municipalities, I guess. Check and see if there's museums around that would worth buying this from you. It probably doesn't cost as much because it's not a lot of wire, but I don't know. I mean, look, you can still bend it. It's solid wire, by the way. It's never stranded. Um, Back then, they didn't have stranded wire back in those days. They had no idea how much it could actually hold in amps and resistance. So a lot of that wasn't even considered. So let's see. I don't think Coleman says some big power companies still have old stock of porcelain, and they still use them once in a while. It's true, they use them in like their substations and as like substitutes. Like whenever you see those big, you ever see those big round um insulators? Okay, sometimes they'll come across where like yeah, the insulators will crack, they break. They're expensive to replace. Hey, tool review zone. Um, they're expensive to replace, so they would put like those knob and tubes, but even bigger knob and tube porcelain to kind of like as like a temporary replacement until they were able to get order the exact porcelain replacement for it. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yes, Koneman. Power companies still use porcelain standoffs, and sometimes knob and tube components are replaced. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, basically, from what Zayfael has said, all right. Now I like the fact that Zayfael is troubleshooting and trying to install a dimmer. And that was a great question, Zayfael. Thanks for that, man. Also, shout out to Thomas Nagy on YouTube. Check him out. Um, he is an electrical contractor, electrician, licensed electrician, I believe, over in the UK. Awesome channel. You gotta check him out. He's really cool. Also, shout out to Electric Mags. Electric Mags is on Instagram. Check her out. She's with the IBEW. She's an apprentice. She's doing really well. Her progress is amazing. So shout out to you, Mags. Congrats. Keep doing it, girl. You're doing awesome. Um, and check out Dustin Stelzer from Electrician. Yo, I'm gonna give a shout out to him because he does amazing videos, dude. Like I myself 8 years in this trade, and I'm still learning. Believe it or not, I'm still learning as I go in my in this trade, and he's like really putting out some really awesome info, guys. So those of you who are electrical apprentices, just don't stop by my channel. Check out Electrician U. Check out the modern day electrician. He's another dude on Instagram who like does awesome videos. Um, you know, Kevin's Electrical Tool channel. He has an awesome channel with like he does reviews on tool reviews. He does a little bit of here and there on electrical knowledge. I also would check out Mike Holt. Okay, Mike Holt is like the OG of the electrical trade. So if you want to learn more about electrical, you want to up the ante a little bit, get your knowledge in there, be one up against the other guys. Or if you're looking to open up your own business, you want to become a licensed electrician, but you don't know how, okay? You don't know how? It's fine. Check out MikeHolt.com, okay? Um, I met Mike Holt personally. Like, you know, the guy is awesome. He's a great guy. I shook his hand, spoke to him for a little bit. Very knowledgeable man. Check him out. I mean, there's a lot of guys I met in this trade. Not a lot, I wouldn't say. Some guys I met in this trade who would always tell me like, well, stop listening to Mike Holt and this and that. And honestly, he's the one that's holding it down in this trade, guys. Like, there's not a lot of us. There's not a lot of people going towards these trades. There's beginning to be less and less of us. We need to really a trade. When you're into a trade, no matter where you're from, or who you were raised by, whether you're raised in a rich family or raised in a poor, in a broken a impoverished family, and you want to make a change in your life, learn a trade. It'll get you by. Okay, it doesn't matter if don't a lot of people, and I've come across some pretty nasty people in my time in this trade. Um, and I will have to say the wealthy kind. Like, I'm saying people who are not on how would I say it? Normal people, like myself, in the conditions that we live in, middle class or lower class, they wouldn't look down on us. They look at us with pride, like not pride, but I would say with joy, and say, "Oh my God, here he is, gonna fix what needs to be fixed. I appreciate this guy or girl or man or woman, and coming in here fixing it up. Man, they do such a great job." And there are times where I run across wealthy, established people with businesses, CEOs, and we worked under in their homes and stuff. And not, and I'm not saying not all of them are like this, but some of them that I've met, have been really nasty and looked down upon me because of the trade of the position I'm in and what I'm doing, because they feel like they want to own whatever they want to own me. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 sec. Be right back. I gotta answer this call. Ah. All right. Ow, on my knee. I've been sitting for a little too long. I have to get up a little bit. Oh, my knee. Oh. Yeah, so anyways, I'm back to these. Like I was saying, they would look down on us and they'll just like kind of boss and be nasty about certain things. And in other words, they just look down on us for them. They shouldn't, because we're the ones that actually build these homes that they live in. We run the wires, we install these light fixtures, we give them power, we give them outlets to plug in their chargers, plug in their TVs or their appliances. I mean, they should, without us there won't be a home for them to live in. Basically, they wouldn't have the needs that they have now, in their homes. So um because they feel that they're entitled, they have money, it shouldn't be that way. Really, they shouldn't think of that, because then we wouldn't be there to give them their homes, put light and power in their home. So, um, so for all you who are wealthy higher ups and stuff, show a little respect to us, because we really work hard every day. Some of us may not make the money that you make, but shouldn't really matter. It's like, we should be well respected. We bring a service to you, and a need for that service is that we provide. We provide the service. We provide our trade skills to help install, repair, and troubleshoot issues in your home or in your business. So be appreciative about it. And I mean, there's a lot of that going around too. Believe it or not, there is a lot of that. But the majority of the time, you would come across a lot of people who are very grateful for having for having them fix these problems, these electrical issues. And it shouldn't really matter which, either electrical, HVAC, plumbing. We should be all trades, and I'm not just making it especially for electricians. All trades should be respected, well respected for what they do, because believe it or not, we built this country. Without us, there wouldn't be cities, there wouldn't be homes, there wouldn't be apartment buildings. We'd be living in teepees, you know. So, um, yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I would say. So, next up, we got a pretty cool deal here going on. Sorry for that little slap. It shook up the camera a little bit. Let's see. Let's roll it up. So, Acme Tools is doing a bit of a tool deal here. All right. And here it is. Up to $100 off purchase of selected wall items. Check it out. Now, I know you guys are saying, well, why are you looking at the wall? You're a Milwaukee guy. I get it. I'm stuck on one platform. I like Milwaukee. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't like DeWalt. There are some DeWalt tools I don't like. Yes. To each his own, right? But let me tell you, I do have a tool that I did get fixed, and it's the DCF 885 model. Finally got it fixed. It is an awesome drill. Got a little Milwaukee tip on it. Doesn't matter. Had to buy the battery and charger kit, but it's an awesome tool. I like the lights, because I can actually see I can see my workpiece. It's still a good drill. This was actually given to me by a coworker. The issue with what the problem was with the drill, and I don't think you guys remember. There's some little. Oh, that was from the drill itself. Wow, that's crazy. Yes, this is a brush tool. I just got some debris from it coming out, so that's the brushes. The issue was the collet. There was no collet. The collet and spring, everything was like destroyed. All the stuff was just the stem, and basically I could just do this, and then it wouldn't really snap in. It would just slide off, because then the whole assembly was gone. So my coworker gave it to me. He said he didn't want it anymore. He bought a whole new M12 set. So I took it, and yeah, it still says his name underneath the bottom, Chris. Got it fixed. Got the collet fixed. I don't know how long. I think when he gave it to me, I waited like 2 years later, and then finally got it fixed. And the collet, I gotta say, it's just awesome. Like the snap-in effect. Like when you take it out. I mean, it's a new collet, and it snaps in. Now, when I want to take it out, check this out. Pops out. Boom. That's pretty cool, right? It just pops out and lets you just take it out fully. Awesome drill. Love the drill. I got no qualms about it. It's one of the best DeWalt drills. Still, I believe to this day, the 885. I have tried the 87. I don't like the 87. I don't like it because the fact that it does burn out very easily. I've seen an HVAC guy working with it, putting in 5/16 sheet metal screws, assembling ductwork, and he kept constantly using it, and it got so hot to the point he told me the handle got really hot, and then it started smoking. I was like, oh man, and it did the same effect as it did in one of VC Construction's TTR. Same thing. The underneath it was smoking. The motor was smoking. He had to like just pop the battery out and throw it out. Throughout the drill, it was nuts. It was crazy. It was like smoke everywhere. So yeah, it's a good drill. Wait till you get your. Wait, what was that? Kona. Oh, I'm sorry. Zayfiel says knob and tube wiring is very safe for what it was, but gets very unsafe when it wears down and people overload it. Correct. That's true. Coneman says wait till they get your bill. Rich people complain about spending money. Oh, you know what? That is true. I've had a couple go through that. I remember it was for like a troubleshooting, and we had to do. I think it was like time and material service call, and it was only like three. What was it normally for like 3 hours? I think it was like 328.50, and that was the bill to swap out two outlets, um, with and then yeah, swap out two old outlets with two new ones, and then I had to swap out a switch and troubleshoot a light, which I found the issue was that it was a loose neutral. Repaired that issue, and then the bill came up to like, was it 3 hours I was there? No, it was less than 3 hours. I think the bill was like 208 something. It was like for like an hour actually. And it was like 208 60 I think was the total. And this guy was like well, basically he did stocks in Wall Street, and he had an expensive apartment. And when I gave him the bills, I told him, he just like, what? For 1 hour? Are you kidding me? I'm like looking around, thinking to myself, dude, are you serious? Look what you have. Like, look what you have. You have a freaking flat, like a 70-something inch flat screen. You got all this expensive artwork, and you're complaining about $206 on a 1 hour service call? I mean, for anyone like in the lower class, like in the middle class to lower class, yeah, they would kind of complain a little bit and say, wow, that's a little expensive for a service call. Yeah, it's just, the company's based in Manhattan. We charge whatever. But I mean, really? A guy who lives in a high-rise building, I mean, expensive high-rise, fancy high-rise, and he's complaining about $208 service fee? A 1 hour service fee? I mean, you shouldn't. I mean, if you guys saw what I saw, his face was like, "What? Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous!" And then he complained up and down. Wanted to talk to my service department manager. I had him on the phone. He explained to him how we build, and the guy just like, whatever. I'm late to a meeting. Charge on my credit card, and just left. Like, he literally left me by myself in his apartment as I'm like cleaning up, grabbing my tools. I'm like, really, dude? Like, but you see, it's people like that are so like, I don't understand. Maybe they're going through a bad day. But it's people like that shouldn't really complain when people like us, the lower classes below them, below the 1%, we're the ones actually working hard, paying more in taxes than they are, believe it or not. You know, we're struggling. But they won't understand that because they're so busy making money, so busy making profits, they don't realize how good they have it until one day they completely lose it, and they'll realize, wow, I treated people differently because I was up here. Now I'm back down there. That the day might come, maybe not, but hopefully it won't. Um, I don't wish any doubt on people like that, but you need to like really appreciate what you have and not what you don't have, and appreciate that at least like you could afford something rather than not afford it. Um, I appreciate what I have. I don't I don't think about what I don't have. You know, sure, I want a house, but I'm not gonna gripe about it. You know, I'm gonna work on it. I'm working on it to this day to be a homeowner. And hopefully I will. Um, but yeah, there's people out there, and I totally agree with you, Kona. They're just like that, really. Um, it's a shame, but what can you do, right? What can you do? Anyways, let's get back to it. Look at this. So I guess it says selectable items. Now, I'm not seeing. Usually they put like a green tag on it, I think. Let's see here. They got woodworking kits, 2-piece. Let's try that. Let's try their oscillating tool. Let's see if there's a deal going on with that. So it's in stock. It comes. Wow, look at that. Oscillating tool, 1 5 amp hour battery, orbital sander, brushless, and a charger. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other. Yeah, I'm not seeing any tags or anything like that. Usually, there's like a green tag that resembles like an offer of some kind, and I'm not seeing it here. So let's move on. Let's see if we can find one. Now you see this. Let's see this. The battery power kit. The battery kit. This is a 4 amp hour. This is something I would like to have for my impact driver, because the impact driver I bought the battery kit. It came with 1 5 amp hour battery and one charger and a bag. The bag is useful. I love the DeWalt bags, believe it or not. I really like their canvas looking bags. They're awesome. I use the bag that came with the battery kit, put tools and like for my service calls and stuff. This battery is amazing, for one. It's got a little weight. I prefer the 2 amp hour or slim or the 4 amp hour slim, but the 5 amp hour is good enough. I'm grateful to have it. Awesome battery, long lasting battery. Fuel gauge in the back. I like it. May not be Milwaukee, but I like the old 885 drills, and I like the batteries that they make. So don't say I'm not a DeWalt fan. I still have my old DeWalt Nightcat battery hammer drill kit. I had that fixed. I tried getting the Sawzall fixed, but apparently they said they don't make the parts anymore, and they scrapped it for me. So they didn't charge me for that. They just charged me for the impact driver, and which wasn't bad. The impact driver only came out, I believe, $28.50 for the collet, for the repairs and everything. So the repair shop I usually go to is in Brooklyn, and it's an awesome repair shop. The guys there do a really good job. So check out J&A Repair Shop, Tool Repair Shop over in Brooklyn. So if you live in the Brooklyn area. So I'm not seeing any tool deals, guys. That's odd. I mean, do we have to? When they say select items, I'm not seeing a green tag. Usually I would like to see. Usually it's like a green tag that goes with the tool, and it'll tell you right there that there's a tool deal for it. But I'm not seeing it. I'm guessing I guess they don't have any. I guess they ran out of stock. Let's see. Let's try throwing in. How about this guy? The DeWalt 12 volt max drill driver kit, XR drill driver kit. Look at that. Nice. Brushless, 12 volt. Not bad, right? Charger, 2 batteries, two 2 amp hour batteries. So apparently it says LED foot light. Okay, that's cool. It's got 3/8 ratcheting chuck for bit retention and variable speed trigger for control. And it's a brushless motor, long motor life. Moto. Let's see, let's add it to the cart. Let's see, let's add, go to cart. Let's see what we get. So it comes up to $119. Oh look, I found apply coupons. Let's see. Let's apply a couple coupons, right? Pearl 15. Well, definitely that's not gonna work. That's one thing I like about Honey is that they try to provide you with these coupons to give you a really good discount. Give you a good price on these discounts. So, if you haven't already, you should download Honey, the Honey app, on your browser to help you find, when shopping online, find coupons and deals and discount codes and stuff. It's really cool. Let's see, trades 10. Let's see which one worked. Sometimes you may not get so lucky. Active Tools is having a sale. We didn't find any additional active coupons for your order, but it looks like there's a sale at Acme Tools. Okay, joinhoney.com. Okay, let's. I guess there's not. I guess these did not work out though. So it's $119, $120. Well, that's a shame. Let's go remove that and head back to. Uh-oh, what happened? Okay. Well, we're going on overtime, guys. So sorry. But I'm going to make this quick. It looks like they're not having any deals. Let's check out Milwaukee. Let me see. Usually they have deals from Milwaukee. I like the. It's been a while since I've been on Acme Tools, and they changed their website a little bit. So it's shop M12, M18, and shop Packout. Let's see. Just find deals. So up to 100%, $100 off purchase of selectable items. I didn't see any, but maybe you have to click in on certain tools. So I'm not gonna go through all of them. But let's check out free tool or battery with purchase. Select M12 fuel kit. Well, let's see. So here it is. These are the M12. You see, this is what I'm talking about. Promotion available. These are the tags I'm looking for. See, I didn't see them in any of those on the DeWalt's. Usually on any of the tools they have a promotion available, you know, and they didn't have any, which is odd. I didn't understand why, but they do have a lot of, look at that, M12 fuel kits. Whoa! There's a compact cutoff tool, $199, $200 in the entire kit, and then they also have the installation drill and driver kit. Now this is a tool I like to get my hands on, but it's kind of pricey. $230. That's see, I'm not big on, unless there's like a sale or like a, holiday sale going on and there's a good deal, then yeah, I'll go after it. But these I mean, these are deals when you get a free battery toolkit or a free tool, I guess. Free Milwaukee M12 tool, multi-tool, or M12 XC 6.0 battery. So you'll get the multi-tool, which is right here, or you get a free, XC 6.0 battery. Now, Home Depot, where I am, they're doing a tool deal, M12 tool deal. Buy a M12 toolkit, whether it's a battery toolkit or a tool, or bare tool, you get a free kit or a free tool, I believe. So if I was to purchase like the, let's say, an impact driver, I would be able to take out, I believe it's what it is like it's the 6.0 amp hour 12 volt battery kit. It's just the batteries. I don't think it's the kit. I don't know if I saw a charger with that. It might have been a charger actually with those two batteries, which is an awesome deal. Because God knows I like having more batteries to my disposal. But look at this, man. These impact drivers, the 1/2 inch. I don't own a 1/2 inch impact. I have the adapter bits. to go with my impact driver, but I don't have an actual impact driver. And I'm told that if you get the impact driver, impact wrench, it's a lot better to have. You get more torque, you get more power than just an impact driver. You don't have to bog or wear down and bog down your impact driver to get all bolts and nuts in. It's better to just impact wrench. So, which makes sense. You know, makes sense. But this is cool though. Look at all these tool deals. Not that bad, but you know. Let's see. I think that's the only tool deal they're having from Milwaukee, but let's double check. Usually they have a little section. Oh, sorry guys. Oof. Yo, they have the Pack Out First Aid Kit class organizer kit. It's currently out of stock, but it's $129.97, so $130 for that. I guess it's only good. Oh, look, that's free battery with purchase of select M18 tools. Oh, let's go back. With the M18 Bear tool or combo kit. Oscillating tool, free hat with purchase of select radio or speaker. Cool. And a 20% off purchase of select M18 plus select accessory purchase of $25 or more. Huh. That's a bit tricky there. And here's the free battery with purchase of select M12 fuel kit. So you get a 6.0 amp hour battery. Now my thing is, let's see, shop now. If I wanted to, I'd love the installation drill driver kit. Here's the thing, I'm not a carpenter. Well, installing light fixtures, this could be easier for me for light fixtures too. But how often would I need something like this to hang a light fixture? I usually just use hand tools to do the job. For an impact wrench, maybe, let's see. I mostly have 1/2 inch. Oh, look at that. $269. Gosh, for the different sizes. A 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, and a 3/8. Yeesh. Well, let's see. If I put that in the cart, let's see if I get the 6.0 amp hour battery. This comes with the batteries. 2 batteries. Comes with the, I think, a 4.0 and a 2.0. If I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yep, 4.0 and 2.0 standard with battery. And I have to agree with Vince from VCG Construction. They need to get rid of this M12 battery charger. Put in a combo. M18 uses M18 chargers and M12 combo like it does both. It charges both batteries. Why don't they do that for the M12? I really don't get why they would spend so much money, even more money on spending on one single charger, M12 charger. It makes no sense. Whatever. Let's add that to the cart. Oh, free multi-tool and XCC. Okay, so you get a free tool. Let's see. Go to car. So you get a free tool and a battery. Okay, select gift. Okay, so I can either choose from getting a 6.0 amp hour battery for free or the M12 cordless multi-tool. This tool I already have. The multi-tool. Now I've upgraded to the fuel M12 multi-tool, which is way better. The vibration on that thing is barely any vibration on it. But this thing, the old one, had so much vibration, even my hands could feel it afterwards after long use. But I would prefer much the battery. If I was to purchase this, I would prefer getting a free battery with it, which makes sense, you know. But I'm not going to purchase it, so it's $269. You get the XC 6.0 battery or the M12 multi-tool kit for free by choosing which one you prefer. I would prefer, frankly, the battery. All right, so. Oh, sorry, guys. I know, it sounds like I'm getting tired, right? Let's see. He went over and it means it's overtime now, damn it. Come to my studio, people don't respect the work that's being done in a number of things. True, they get paid $180 an hour to sit behind a desk, but get mad when someone charges similar to travel and do physical work. Point taken there, Zafael. You guys have so many good points. It's amazing that some people who are that stubborn just don't see it that way. But hey, I digress, right? I digress. But anyways, guys, sorry to cut this, and I wish we had more time. Um, Listen, I appreciate every single one of you guys. All right, let me actually switch over here. Got it. There we go. So, I can hear myself. That's so weird. That is so weird. Why do I hear myself? There we go. Aha! Fix it. Ozza fixed it. Thanks. So true, says Conan Man. So thanks for watching, guys. There's no drop frames. We don't have drop frames. Awesome. But there is a bit of a delay. I can tell still. That's just the broadband. I can't do nothing about that. Broadband plans here, New York, expensive as heck. But I appreciate every single one of you guys being here. Thanks for watching. Not a lot of you joined. That's okay. I'm fine with that. All right. Just wondering why is this? There we go. Now I can read the comments in the chat better. Thanks AFL for your questions. Thanks for supporting the channel, Conan Man, for coming in. John, that installation tool has a clutch, so you can't over torque your screws. Not bad. I like that. But I don't know. Give me your opinions in the comment section down below. Do you think it would be helpful me as an electrician to have an installation tool drill driver kit, or are there any benefits, or would it just be best to just use hand tools? In my case, hand tools. I like to use my hand tools, and there's a reason why. The forearm gives you forearm strength using hand tools. I stopped using my impact driver on switches and outlets because it tends to strip, over torque, over tighten screws to the point where it strips. Even no matter the setting, usually I put it on setting number 1, but I try not to do that anymore. So I go the old-fashioned way and just use my hands. Get that forearm strength in. All right. We probably didn't get into a lot what we're supposed to. Well, I'm supposed to, but that's fine. We'll talk more about it. If you guys want to talk more about knob and tube, you want to learn a little more about it, check Google. There's a lot of information out there in the internet, in the interwebs about wiring. But if you're looking for more information, you want to, be more of a more savvy electrician. If you're an apprentice and you're studying to become an electrician, check out the links down below. There's 3 links I left in the description box down below. Check them out. Check out those links. You get some really good resources, especially with Mike Holt. I know I mentioned him once or twice already, but Mike Holt, check out MikeHolt.com. His books are on sale. He's selling books out there to help you to get your electrical license or do better in the trade. They may be pricey, no doubt about it, but if you can't afford it, put some money to the side. Invest in yourself. Upgrading your career, you'll do really well in this trade. All right, so he's so hard you ain't getting paid anymore overtime. Coda man, you're funny, dude. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Always remember, wear your personal protective equipment. Watch each other's back. Watch each other's back. Help one another out. Be safe out there. Okay. Try to always, if you're in construction, go by OSHA, man. Go by OSHA rules and regulations. So don't kill yourself out there. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of this weekend, and we'll see you guys. I'll see you guys next time. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.